Hi, I'm Dave from Boyinaband.com, and today I'm going to do the making of my Christmix track. People were more interested in the performance aspect of it, so I figured I'd take the opportunity to do a short review and explanation of the S2 here, since my mix actually covered a lot of the more useful and cool things it can do. But quickly before that, I made the song with Sonar, with Massive, FM8, Reason and Peach. Some nice VSTs there. Peach is a free one as well, definitely get that, link below for that. And I made it with these massive jarring tempo changes between the different tracks, so I'd sort them out when it came to mixing it here on the S2. So let's start reviewing this thing. First thing, there wasn't anything plugged into the outputs of the S2, like there isn't now, because I was using the USB, as you can see there, running into the computer, and I used the sound card on the computer to record it. I just used the Traktor as a controller via USB. So let's take a look at what we've got. I've loaded up the first song here. Traktor can load 2 songs at a time. It's got the 2 different decks, the S2 can. And you do it by using this browse knob right in the middle. You scroll through, you can see it's scrolling through at the bottom down here. So you scroll to what you want, and then on the device, you press the B, load B, and then it's loaded up so you can play it. Or press the play button to actually play it. Just like that, and scratch it. As well as loading up songs, you can load up samples, which is what I did for the intro and outro when I was tapping the buttons instead of speaking. Don't know why I do that. Dragging these into the sample decks just like that. I1, I2, I3 for the intro. And then it was just a case of setting the samples on, the A. And hi, I'm Dave from Boyinaband.com. Tapping these buttons here. Which is quite cool. And obviously these could be used for all kinds of cool samples when doing a normal DJ set. Next thing I'm going to show you is the effects that I use. There's absolutely tons of them, and there's some really, really good ones as well in S2. If we have a look here, we've got delay, reverb, flanges, beat mashes, filters, phasers, some great reverbs, all kinds of filters and stuff. But the ones I used, first of all, was, if we have a look here, by the way, to turn them on, make sure you've got the FX number 1 set, because these buttons choose which bank of effects is applied to which deck. So if you want FX1 bank to be applied to deck 1, you just hit 1 like that, or deck 2, 2, makes sense. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the filter, which is really cool. So if we turn that, press play, turn the filter on, and we can drag this down like that, and just turn the knob all the way around. The middle point is just no filter, and then if you keep turning it, it tends to do a high pass. So it's got a high pass and then low pass, which is really cool. Next one I'll show you is the turntable stop, which is really cool. I've got that on FX slot 2 here on deck 2, and just turning it on makes it come to a stop. You can turn it back and it will slide back into place and then kind of skip to the point that you're at. Next one is the beat repeat, which I really like. Just turning this knob to change the value that you're repeating, the size of the loop. Really cool glitchy effect. And then for the Trancey Silent Night remix I did, I'll just load that up again, browse A, and I've just loaded that into the deck. And then just FX3, which I've put it in, as you can see here, Ice Verb. It's just a great glistening reverb, fantastic for these kinds of things, love it. And there's also a delay, which I used on the scratching. For the scratching, let's load this up so I can show you. I'm not a spectacular turntablist, I've said this before, so the way I get around it is I've got this long, unskippable, fresh sample that I've put together. Turn the reverb off there, and then you can scratch that. Helps if you press play. And that gives a cool effect. But what I had to do, because I wanted the delay to be applied, I had to keep turning it on and off. This is because when you have it on constantly, all of the scratches start to sound very similar. You don't get much difference in tonality for the backwards scratches and the forwards ones. They all just tend to sound like a big mess of noise, rather than something you can actually control. So I did the first part, scratched, and then turned on this just near the end of the scratch so that the end echoed out and it wasn't too dry, which was the problem in the first place. So, kind of like this. Which worked out quite nicely. So that's the scratching. It's actually really good. You have to press down a little hard, but you're doing that anyway, so it's not a real problem. The sync is a really, really cool function. Worked fantastically. I'll load up the dubstep one again. If you look down here, you can set the BPM, which is an important thing for the sync option, because Traktor recognized it as 70 BPM initially, so I had to double that to 140 so the sync worked properly, not a problem. Basically, you play make sure you've got the master selected. Master is determined by which side the crossfader's on, and hit play. Then hit sync, and hit play on this one, and it will be in time. And if we have a look, as you can hear, exactly the same tempo, which is really cool. And then if I bring this back with the Q button brings it right to the start. So yeah, then turn off sync, and you can slowly bring the tempo down with the pitch slider back to the original. Or do like minor adjustments if you're doing more conventional DJing. So that covers a lot of it: the browse, the scratching, all the cue points, effects, and the sync and tempo changes. Some of the other things, as I showed you, the crossfader for mixing between the two different decks. Got the EQs, low, mid, and high, as you'd expect on this kind of thing. Gain for volume, master volume if you're going out of the outputs. Got these cue points that I briefly mentioned, and you can set these up just by playing a track and just... It's really cool for looping. In fact, they have got a really cool loop option here, which I'll show you that now. So that was hitting the in button, then the out button when I wanted it, and it kind of automatically quantized to the track. And you can change the size of the loop with this button here, or press it down to disable or enable it. Really, really cool function. So just to show you how I did the Christmix specifically, I had part one was the dubstep track, which I wrote the We Three Kings dubstep with the intro that was We Wish You a Merry Christmas. If we go back to the start. Hi, I'm Dave from Boyinaband.com. Oh, it's on sample mode. If we go back to the start. Wish You a Merry Christmas, filtered it in. Then it dropped into that. Partway through there, you notice that I hit the sync button and brought this pitch slider back up. And that was when I got the Electro House Complextro chiptune, if you count that tiny little 8-second part, which I do. Remix of Jingle Bells in there, and I brought that in at the correct tempo. And then unsynced it, slowed it down. And during that, while I was playing with some of the beat repeat stuff, I browsed to the next track, which is Silent Night, brought that in. And again, just play on that. Then, while that was going on, played with the reverb, brought that in, loaded up the 12 Days of Christmas, Dark Step remix, because you expected that to happen. Brought that in straight after, just thought it was a nice, hilarious contrast. Then the fresh scratch sample on the other deck, so I could scratch whilst the track was playing. And this had the rest of the song on it, so it went straight into the IDM version of We Wish You a Merry Christmas, followed by the drum step remix of We Wish You a Merry Christmas, and what people seem to be calling the Moomba-core, which is a weird genre, I haven't quite understood it yet, version of the track as well. And then right at the end of that, if we skip near the end, I hit the beat repeat and the turntable stop, just to bring it to a close. And I think that pretty much covers all the basics of it. It's a really good unit. Great for DJing if you've got a laptop or if you want to do home mixes like I did. Click on the Christmix here if you want to see the control in action. And click here for the previous making of tutorial if you're interested in seeing how I make my tracks. Or click on the deck for a random mystery video. Just a short video, but I hope it gave you an idea of what this Traktor Kontrol S2 can do. There's tons of controllers out there and this is a really good one. I enjoyed using it. So yeah, cheers for watching and have a nice day.